All right, man. So the Jonnu Smith stuff came out this afternoon. What do you make of it?
Well, I think that the Steelers are interested in some type of a receiving threat behind DK Metcalf, and it tells me that they're exploring a lot of different avenues. And, Jonnu Smith specifically makes sense in the sense that he worked with Arthur Smith before and is a tight end. And it seems like if you've ever played for Arthur Smith or are a tight end, Arthur Smith would be interested in you. And so I know that fans listening probably are like, man, don't they already have a million tight ends? And the answer is yes. But the Steelers led the league in 13 personnel usage last year, or maybe we're second in 13 personnel usage, which is 3 tight ends on the field at the same time. And everyone understands what Pat Freiermuth can do and his potential. They'd like to see a little bit more from him. Darnell Washington, that he's, basically he's an extra lineman for all intents and purposes based on the way that the Steelers use him. And Connor Hayward has been underwhelming, I would think. I think if you're going to put 3 tight ends out there, you'd like a more dynamic weapon. So, I can understand their interest in him. But at the same time, I think that a wide receiver probably makes more sense for this team, and I think that they can also look towards that avenue as they're looking for somebody who's going to catch the football who's not named DK Metcalf.
Do you think this is a case, Mike, more of the Steelers maybe checked and expressed interest versus like there have actually been serious discussions here?
Well, I think that if the price is right, it would make sense for this team because Arthur Smith does feature the tight end position. And, sometimes what happens in these situations is when teams come to a stalemate with a contract negotiation, that's when they get another team involved, and sometimes that settles it for them. And, in fact, that was the case with Matt Stafford. Despite the fact that Omar Khan, for whatever reason, said that it was fake news that he inquired about Matt Stafford, he absolutely did, and at The Athletic, we have multiple league and also Rams sources that told us they looked into that. And ultimately what happened with that negotiation was Matt Stafford looked elsewhere. He heard what his price was going to be, and that helped bring these two sides together. So, there's 2 ways that this could go. Either that's what happens with Jonnu Smith, and he figures out, okay, here's what the market is, and then the Miami Dolphins can come to resolution, or maybe the Steelers pony up enough that they have another receiving threat, and it comes in the tight end form.
Fan Evening Show chatting with Mike DeFabo of The Athletic. You can follow Mike on Twitter or X at Mike DeFabo. Obviously, read his work at The Athletic. Mike, I want to switch gears a little bit to something you wrote, I believe it was yesterday, about Troy Fautanu and Broderick Jones and what they've shown in OTAs so far. I know it's limited, football in shorts, we can only learn so much, but what have your initial impressions been of those two guys together? And secondarily, do you think the offensive line could wind up as kind of a sneaky strength of this team?
Well, the offensive line needs to become a strength of this team. When Omar Khan chose to invest so heavily in the offensive line, I agreed very much with that process. I think that especially if you want to play a brand of football where you're winning games at the line of scrimmage, you have to be strong in the trenches, and that was a weak area for this team. But it went from being like, oh, I've got this unscratched lottery ticket to, man, there better be $1 million underneath that, because if you spend back-to-back first-round picks on offensive tackles, they better be the strength of your team. They better be the reason why you're winning football games sooner than later.